I mean, Bonnie has really shown us that if you put your mind to it, you can achieve anything that you want. Speaking of, she went on after that to practice law here in Des Moines and in the private sector, and then had the opportunity to lead the Iowa Democratic Party in 1987 until 1990. And she, I think, was not only one of the best Democratic chairs we've ever had in Iowa, but I really believe she's one of the best Democratic Party chairs we've ever had in the United States of America. And it's no accident that Mike Dukakis won Iowa in 1988. He didn't do so well nationally, but we worked really hard at the grassroots level, registering voters, getting the vote out, working tirelessly in 99 counties, and Bonnie led the way as our chair. Then she went on to be the Attorney General of Iowa in 1990. She served with distinction in that office. Again, became a national leader, a national voice, especially when it came to domestic violence. She passed into law and urged the legislature to sign or move forward on legislation, anti-stalking legislation that became a national blueprint for states across America. And her work as Attorney General still is evident every day, not only in Iowa, but across the country, because of Bonnie Campbell, this is a safer state for women and children that President Clinton realized that domestic violence was a very important issue, and he tapped the best possible person that he could to lead the first ever new violence against women office. In 1995, in March of 95, she was appointed to that position and fought every single day to be a voice for those women and children, again, that were in very difficult situations. She had, during her tenure, she helped disperse nearly $2 billion in federal funds through the Department of Justice to all 50 states to help with things like shelter services, even buying beds in shelters. And Bonnie just didn't talk the talk, she walked the walk. And she went to these shelters, and she traveled tirelessly across the country, advocating and fighting and shining light on what is often a subject that is brushed under the rug. And she did such a great job as the head of that office that Time magazine in 1997 recognized Bonnie as one of the top 25 most influential Americans. And they said that these are people, this is Time magazine, these are people who have accomplished something subtle and difficult. They have got other people to follow their lead. They don't necessarily have the maximum raw power. Instead, they are people whose styles are intimidated, whose ideas are adopted, and whose examples are followed. Powerful people twist your arm. Influentials like Bonnie Campbell just get you thinking and moving forward. They went on to say that Bonnie Campbell would work one victim at a time, one police officer at a time, one community at a time. Stumping in a manner of an itinerant preacher, Bonnie Campbell is the force behind a grassroots shift in the way Americans view victims. And perhaps more important, the perspectives of she fights for those crimes, those people that commit crimes against women. It is not so much what she says, though as how she listens. Campbell is so effective. With gracious self-assurance, she brings together unlikely alliances between state troopers and rape victims, prosecutors, and hotline operators. She preaches and then makes sure that everything goes smoothly. So Bonnie has distinguished herself as a leader both in Iowa and in Washington, D.C. She has worked in every branch of government as a cabinet level appointee in the Clinton administration, working in the United States Senate, both here and in Washington, D.C., and serving as a Board of Regents, as a very effective voice for our public institutions. And I was honored to appoint Bonnie to that important position. And she continues to lead, and she continues to advocate on behalf of these victims of domestic violence. And just this weekend, on Friday night, I turned the news on, and there's a lead story about a horrible case in Marshalltown, where a woman and her mother were both victims of domestic violence. A boyfriend set them both on fire. On Saturday night, I turned on the national news, and there's a lead story about a crisis in the United Kingdom. 575,000 calls a year on the domestic violence hotline in Great Britain. Hundreds of thousands of women being killed and injured every day, not only in the United States, but around the world. So we need to continue to help Bonnie and help those other advocates out there shine light on this horrible plague, really, that is affecting our nation and our world. But Bonnie Campbell has made a difference. She will continue to make a difference. I've said this before and I'll say it again. She's not done yet. I look forward to following her lead for many, many years to come. I'd like to introduce my great friend and the winner of the Barbara Boatwright Lifetime Achievement Award, Bonnie Campbell.
If I had any sense at all, I would just say thank you and sit down. I do want to express my gratitude to Governor Calder. When he indicated how long he's known me, it was only fitting that he also indicated how really young I was when I met him and he was barely born. So, it's been a year or two. I would like to thank you, Natasha, and Paula, and Joanne Zimmerman, and all the others on the Dawn Nominations Committee. I'm not sure how I was selected, but thank you, Governor, for nominating me and for those good words. It happens that Barbara Boatwright was a friend of mine, and so I have a feeling she'd be smiling right now. Her son, Steve, a wonderful feminist and Democrat, runs the building I live in. I think of her every single day. I also want to thank all of you. There's so many of you I know, so many of you who inspire me and have, and then like Marty Anderson, who also educated me about the issues I get so much credit for. It is a thrill to be in your company. I'd also like to congratulate the other honorees. Deb, there you are. Amazing Maisie, and some. I enjoyed learning more about you. This is a great honor. I do look around the room and think I've heard Mitch Henry's name mentioned a couple times. I think he personally registered 100,000 Democrats in 1988. It was so much fun. I never saw him. He was out doing what people who register voters do. But I was very proud to take credit for carrying the state for Michael Dukakis by 10 points. He only won Massachusetts, and we did better than they did. So it was quite a thrilling year. I'm going to stop there because I'll have an opportunity to say more later. But thank you, one and all. It's very much an honor to be standing here and be having such nice things said about me. It's just a delight. Thank you.
We have in our audience some of the women who have held that office since Bonnie first initiated it, the state chair of the Iowa Democratic Party. We have, Roxanne was not able to make it. Roxanne Conlon was elected in 1998. Sally Peterson, I don't think